Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels. Part 1, Episode 7 of Refresh Our Memory. Now, before I get started, I want to share that in the month of the holidays, I take flowers and trinkets to the cemetery for Megan and my grandson. When I visit throughout the time of that month, I take pictures. Well, December is the month of Christmas. I visited the cemetery last Tuesday. The flowers, Megan's flowers, her Santa hat, and candy canes were still stuck in the ground on December 19, 2023. But when I visited on Saturday, December 23rd, 2023, the flowers are gone. The Santa hat is gone. The candy canes are gone. All of it, just gone. I did post 2 pictures on the cemetery cover-up page by Jen Mike Philhauer to explain what had happened. But just to say, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I will be back out there sticking flowers in the ground on the piece of land that we, my family, purchased for Megan to rest in peace. And that's where we will continue to stick her flowers in the ground at. Now let's get started. April 1st, 2021. My friend Patty messaged. She wrote, I was able to read your timeline and the descriptions of the pictures in full length. But because the kids are here, I don't want to venture all the way through the pictures yet. I had to keep it to myself of what I was reading. I wrote, thank you for that. The little kids don't need to see them pictures. But thank you for reading. Patty wrote, I will look at the pictures when the kids are in school. And thank you, Patty, for looking out. April 2nd, 2021, 12:10 p.m., Patty called, and she was letting me know she has the letter written to send to the Epic Times newspaper. But she needed to see the newspaper and to get the address, so I sent her the newspaper pictures through messages, and she was able to get the information she needed. Today, April 4th, 2021, I put a message on the cemetery cover-up page saying, Happy birthday, Angel. Happy Easter, Megan. I felt the weight of this day. Today, the day is the day Megan came into our lives and left us. And we love you, baby. 1:20 p.m., Patty messaged. She wrote, the 6 pages of the newspaper, I needed to zero in on it, and I looked for the guidelines of the ad in the newspaper, but I did get what I needed. I wrote, thank you, Patty, for getting back to me and getting that done. And then this afternoon, Madison and I went to the cemetery to let off balloons for Megan's birthday. And we let one off for Wyatt, and vice versa when it's Wyatt's birthday. We sang happy birthday to Megan, and yes, her flowers are still there. And not long after taking the pictures, we left the cemetery. When I arrived home, Madison offered to go copy the reenactment pictures to add to the files I am putting together. And I so much appreciate that. April 6, 2021, 4:15 p.m. Earlier today, I was having a strong feeling, a feeling like a premonition to send a file to Nancy Grace. My thought or feeling then was, I had a nervous feeling. And I thought, what could it hurt? I may as well. I have to do everything I can. At 4:26 p.m., I did address the gold envelope to send to Nancy Grace. Then a thought came to mind. I don't know her, and she don't know me. But please, with a good heart, read my file and see what needs to happen to get this fixed. I did get the file ready, and Madison mailed it on April 7th, 2021. And on this day, someone joined the cemetery cover-up page. And I prayed when I seen it that this is the one person to help us. April 8, 2021. Again today, someone else has joined the cemetery page, and I'm so thankful. At 6:22 p.m., I messaged Jen to let her know they were trying to join the page. Jen wrote, I accepted it, and I've been looking at their profile to see what I can find. She said this man may be an attorney, if this is the correct profile. And we are keeping our fingers crossed. Jen wrote, he's from Texas, but he could have relatives in this same cemetery. And then another guy, I couldn't find him, but I will keep checking. And thank you so much, Jen, for all of it. Really. 8:29 p.m., my friend Lisa called. She asked about the newcomers who's joining the cemetery cover-up page. She asked, are you checking these people out before you accept them? I said yes. Yes, Jen does that. Lisa said, because you gotta watch people nowadays. Someone could hack the page, and that would piss me off. I would be pissed if someone did that. I said, oh, I know. That's why we check them out. Jen is doing a great job. And that's all we would need is for someone to do that. Why do people have to be so evil and heartless? Lisa said, oh, I know, but people are mean. And of course, I pray nothing like that happens. April 10th, 2021. Another friend of mine told me today, send a file to Tom Hanks. He seems like a nice guy. And I thought, that would be a good idea, and it can't hurt. April 11th, 2021. I just thank God for letting me breathe. April 12th, 2021. Patty called and said, I was able to look at the pictures, and I need to ask a few questions about each picture. So when we get time, I will look at the pictures, Em, and you tell me the story, all right? I said, yes, we can do that. She also requested me calling the Epic Times newspaper to find out if we have to be a subscriber to use the paper for an ad. And of course, I will do that. April 13th, 2021. Today, I'm hoping Nancy Grace received her file, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. April 14th, 2021. This morning, I called the Epic Times newspaper, and I talked with a really nice man, which he was very helpful. He told me, no, you do not have to be a subscriber, so that's on a good note. And at 12:14 p.m., a call came in from New York, and I'm anxious. I answer. It's the man from Epic Times. He gave me his email address and his telephone number. And of course, I thanked him for calling me back. April 15th, 2021. This morning I said a prayer to give me a sign that people are receiving my information files. This afternoon I did receive a file back of Eric Clapton's. I took it as people are receiving them because this is the only one I have received back so far. And then my friend Patty called. She said, Em, I believed you from the very beginning of you telling me your story. But now that I've looked at everything thoroughly and hearing your story, I can say 100% I see it. And I knew she would. anyone would if they take the time to view the information and look at the pictures. Patty also said, I am sending more letters and contacting the newspaper. And I thank you so much, Patty. Later this afternoon, Madison and I went to the cemetery. They are having a funeral today. Madison drove toward Megan, then back to see Wyatt. Then she drove back around by Megan, and I took pictures. Then we left the cemetery out of respect. As we were going home, I told Madison, we received a file back from Eric Clapton today. And of course I have tears in my eyes. I said, but as long as we don't get any more back and anyone finds it in their heart to help Megan and the others, it will be all right. Madison, of course, said, be patient. Give it a little time. Someone will help. I said, I'm trying to stay positive, and I'm trying to be patient. And then on our way home, we stopped at the store to get more gold envelopes to send more files, because I'm continuing to send more files. April 16, 2021. 1:21 p.m., Patty called. She mentioned getting a poster board to pin the pictures up to look at them while she reads the information. She said also, I talked with the lady at the newspaper, and I didn't know what to say when she asked me if we wanted it to be a digital ad or a classified ad. I said a digital ad is online and a classified ad is in the paper in the classified section. She also said, I read up on Sandra Bullock and I will send one to Wanda Sykes too. I said, all right, yes, send to anyone and everyone you can think of. She said, I am looking at the pictures and I'm focused on these two pictures. And I can't understand how anyone cannot see this. I said, well, others like you have said they do see it. But then there's some that don't want to see it. And these babies in that cemetery does not deserve this. Patty said, we are going to get this done. It may take a while, but we will get this. And of course, I told Patty, thank you, my friend. Thank you for all of it. April 17, 2021. Patty is continuing to send letters. She asked me also to send her the laws of what the digging at the cemetery pertained. I told her the only law that came out during this whole case with that attorney was Title 21. Patty said, I'm just curious as to what law he was undergoing on this case. And what did you hire him for? I said, I hired him to have the headstones moved back. Patty said, Title 21, huh? I said, yeah, it's some crap. Patty said, that lawyer did you wrong, Em. I said, oh, I know he did. Believe me, I know he did. And thank you, my friend, for looking out. April 18, 2021, 11:07 a.m., I went to the cemetery. I love visiting my babies there. It's peaceful and quiet. I can't sit comfortably anymore. Now I have to watch my surroundings and stay in the car when I'm by myself. Sad, but true. I took pictures, and yet again the cemetery has water laying on the grounds in different areas. I sat with my babies praying to them to send someone to help us. Then I left the cemetery. When I arrived home, Madison was cleaning the food cabinet out and the freezer. And then her and I took the food to the homeless. The first man we saw, I gave it to him. And he had a big smile on his face, and I knew we did good. Madison took a picture, and we left the area. and we try to help them out when we can. April 19th, 2021, 11:47 a.m., Patty called. She said, I put the letters in the mailbox today. I did take a picture of the letters in the mailbox. I think that would be a good picture, Em. And I thank her for that. She also said, I may be mistaken, but the newspaper ad can only have 14 words. And I thought that sounded odd, but I told her I would get in touch with the man at Epic Times newspaper to double check. And I messaged him, and I will wait for him to message me back. April 20th, 2021. This morning I asked Madison, if you have one file left and you could send it to a state representative or send it to someone else that's on the list, who would you send it to? Madison said, I'd send it to someone else. And I did take her opinion to heart. April 21st, 2021. Spending time looking for names to send files to. Patty called giving me advice and more names to send to. And I thank you, Patty, for your help. And I take anyone and everyone's advice and opinion to heart. So thank you all for all of it. Patty said, take it to the Steve Wilkos show. I can see if I still have my connections. And I would appreciate that also, Patty. Then later today, I started copying the papers and pictures to make more files. And in the information, I did make a mistake by writing Stan, the retired city manager, and I wrote retired city attorney. It was just a minor mistake, but I admitted it and fixed it. April 22nd, 2021, 9:01 a.m., Patty messaged telling me as she's cleaning and getting things ready for her son's birthday party, on his table was an Epic Times newspaper. She said, I'm taking this as a sign that this paper may be able to help us. And she then called and we talked about the newspaper and wants me to call them. And I told her I would do that. I said, you go for whatever you need to do and do whatever you can so we can get this done. Patty, of course, said she would. April 23rd, 2021. Today I was going to the cemetery, but it started raining, and it's raining really hard, so I thought I will wait and go tomorrow. And of course, in my thoughts, I kept thinking, oh no. The cemetery will be flooded, but I will check it out tomorrow. And also today makes 3 weeks the files were sent to 8 different people, and I'm staying hopeful. We also had another person join the cemetery page, and of course, Jen approved it. April 24th, 2021. This afternoon, I did go to the cemetery. And when I pulled in, they were having a couple funerals. I looked to the west side of the cemetery where a group of people were standing, and the preacher man was walking briskly towards the entrance of the cemetery. He had his Bible in one hand, and his other arm was just swinging. The body language showed me he was not very happy about something. But as I got closer to Wyatt, I could see water laying on the ground in different areas. I drove around to see Megan, Babyland 6 West, and her area is a pond. As I sat with Megan, a woman approached my car, and we were talking about the cemetery being flooded. I said, yeah, so much for them fixing the drain system. It was a big waste of money, don't you think? The woman said, yes, it sure was. She then asked, are you part of one of the services out here? I said, no, I came to visit my grandbabies, but I couldn't get close enough to one, so I came to visit my granddaughter here, pointing to the flooded area. She said, "You shouldn't have grandchildren out here." I said, "No, I shouldn't. And it's tough enough having them here and then having to deal with this after it rains, it being flooded." The woman was consoling, and I agreed with her as someone was pulling up behind me. I told the woman to have a good day, and I pulled away. On my way home, I thought, dead or alive, no one deserves this disrespect. But I will go back to the cemetery tomorrow. April 25th, 2021. This morning, I feel an emotional roller coaster ride. I prayed to God to watch over and protect me, and I felt the room become peaceful, and I was able to calm myself down. At 4:33 p.m., Madison, Zoe, Megan's younger sisters, and I went to the cemetery. The water levels were down in some areas, but Megan's area, Babyland 6 West, is still underwater, and it's so sickening. I did take pictures, and I told my angels we loved them as we left the cemetery. And my question to this is, why? Why wouldn't you people want to fix this? April 26, 2021. Patty called and we talked about the cemetery being flooded. We talked about the letters written for the newspaper ad. Patty said, "We do have a case, Em. That lawyer you hired took this case with no laws in place." I said, "Oh, I know. He jacked me. He took me for a ride. But karma's a bitch, huh?" Patty absolutely agreed. And after we hung up, I worked on the letter, or I should say a short brief of the story for an ad in the paper. But now I know I am allowed 40 words for the ad, and it makes it simpler to explain a little more. I read the ad I wrote to Madison, and she thought it sounded good. So I will use that, and I'm sure the publishers will edit what needs to be edited. After I set it all down, my heart aches. Thinking about all of this, my chest is heavy. And then to find out 2.5 years of that lawyer working on this case for us, there were no laws to pursue any of this. April 27, 2021. I went to the cemetery and I wanted to visit with both my angels. It looked like a small funeral was going on, so I didn't stay long. My heart is heavy, and the question again is why? Why is all I ask. I don't understand the meaning of their demeanor, but if they've done this to Megan and the others in Babyland 6 West, how many others have gone through a similar deal and they've done nothing? Because I do know the very first complaint that came in about this cemetery flooding was in 1947. And after they've been ignoring all these years, well, now it may be biting them in the ass. April 28, 2021. We've had rain again overnight, and my heart hurts because I already know Babyland 6 West is covered in water. It's disgusting on their part. And as my day moved on, I prayed that Nancy from the funeral home would come to me and help us. I pray she have a soft spot in her heart and tell us what she knows. I got tears in my eyes remembering the story she told us of her grandchild. Also, I looked up more information on others to send files to, and I will continue to do that. I did go to the cemetery. My friend Lisa is on the phone with me while I drive through. I started snapping pictures. There is water puddles all over the cemetery. Megan's area is the worst. Headstones are underwater, and it's so disgusting. Come on, people, get this fixed. I sent a couple pictures to Lisa. She said, "That is horrible, Em. Post them on the cemetery page." I said, "Oh, I will, or Jen will." And we sat quietly for a few minutes, and then I pulled away and left the cemetery. Lisa stayed on the phone with me until I was home, and that's what we do if I go by myself to the cemetery. Someone goes with me or stays on the phone with me while I'm at that cemetery, and I greatly appreciate that. And you know who you are. April 29, 2021. This morning, I did send Aaron Brockovich a file. I just feel I need to keep sending and sending, and I will continue to do that. April 30th, 2021. 4 weeks today, the file should have been received, and boy, oh boy, I'm praying one of them helps. Thank you for listening. Stay kind with your words.